reinventing myself. I'm me and nobody else. Ooh, I can't help but smile.
Hey there everybody, welcome to another one of these things. I hope you're all well. Well, if you didn't guess from the title, I'm going to be asking a question. Is the A7CII worth it in 2025? Well, as my other half, my partner in crime, often says, ask a stupid question, get a snappy answer. And my snappy answer is yes. Of course it's worth it in 2025. This camera only came out a couple years ago. Yes, some would argue that the insides come out of an A7 IV, and that's an old camera already. I mean, it looks like we'll be getting an A7 V sometime this year. I don't know, that's what the rumors say. And why not just wait for the A7 V to come out? Well, it's this small form factor. It's gonna be a while before they cram what's in a future A7 V into a C-series body. I had the original A7C. We had it with us on our trip to Iceland. I shot a lot of great footage with that, some photos that I was very happy with. I really fell in love with that camera. It was something I just wanted to pick up. I kind of made an emotional connection with that camera. I know it sounds silly, but it's one of those cameras I just wanted to pick up and use it. I didn't get quite the same connection with my A6700, regardless of how I tried, although a fantastic camera. The thing that I felt I was missing in the A7C, the original, is it had that 8-bit video. I really wanted 10-bit video, and now it's something I've become quite accustomed to. I'm shooting this right now with my FX30. Clearly, I have no issue with the sensor in the A6700. Some of you may know that it shares the sensor with the FX30. I have done quite a bit with the FX30. This camera is not going anywhere. I've done some paid jobs, both video and photography, believe it or not. Some real estate and architectural stuff. You can actually get some beautiful wide-angle shots on APS-C just because of lens availability. You've got a 10mm out there now that's available for full frame, which is absolutely crazy. That's actually too wide for that kind of work, the real estate and architectural, in my opinion. So yes, the original A7C definitely sort of spoke to me on an emotional level. The only thing I felt really that was missing was that 10-bit video. I don't even mind so much that it doesn't shoot 120 at 4K like the FX30 does, like the A6700 does. Many would argue, yes, that the A6700 and the FX30 are more advanced video cameras. So if you're looking to buy a camera and you're considering the A7CII, the A6700, or maybe even the original A7C, there are some major things that you want to get out of the way first. Do you want to commit to full frame expenses? The camera itself, when you're talking full frame, is going to cost considerably more, and the lenses will cost more. The lenses are typically larger and heavier as well. Not always, but normally. So those are the first things to get out of the way. And the A6700 is no slouch. If you've got good glass on that camera, just like this, the FX30, again, shares the same sensor, you are going to get some fantastic results. Video out of these cameras, photos out of these cameras, indiscernible in many cases to what you're going to get out of a full frame camera. One thing you're going to get out of a full frame camera is if you're shooting in low light. Full frame sensors, they capture a lot more light than APS-C sensors do. If you're a video-centric shooter, I would avoid the original A7C altogether, just because there are so many great options for cameras that shoot 10-bit. The A6700, a 10-bit camera. The A7CII, 10-bit video as well. Between those two for video, many people would say that the A6700 is a far more advanced video camera. It is a bit newer, and it does have capabilities that this camera does not. The A6700 can shoot 4K 120. If you like high frame rate video, I hardly ever shoot 120. So if you're one of those people who like shooting high frame rate video, I shoot at 4K 120 every once in a while with the FX30, and I did with the A6700. It looks fantastic. There are ways around that. If you've got a camera that shoots 4K 60, there's software out there for interpolating up to 120. This will only go up to 60 FPS in 4K, and it's cropped as well. Now beware, when you are shooting 4K 120 with the A6700 or the FX30, there is a little bit of a crop in that 120. It's not much, but there is a little bit of a crop when you go to 120. Not a big deal. So when we were in Iceland and I had the original A7C with me there, I was very aware of the fact that I was shooting 8-bit video, and I'd have to make sure my exposure was close to dead on, because you don't really have a lot of leeway as far as grading 8-bit video. And also, when I was shooting high frame rate video, I actually wanted to get some 120 FPS in there, and that camera only shoots 120 in HD. So what I ended up actually doing was shooting in HD and up-resing that to 4K with Topaz video. So with this camera, if you want 4K footage at 120 FPS, there is a little bit of a workaround that actually works quite well with Topaz video again. It does a great job at interpolating 60 FPS up to 120 FPS. So some of you may be familiar with Jevon Dovey. He's got some good videos on YouTube, and he shot a documentary with the A7C in Rwanda, I believe. And I guess if you're going to have overheating issues, you might have them there while shooting a documentary. And it sounded like he got by just fine with the A7C II. It gives me certainly some confidence with what can be done with this. If you're shooting once-in-a-lifetime events, I can understand. If you're a little bit leery about shooting with only one card slot, it's certainly a situation where you'd want the peace of mind of having 2 card slots. For me, it's not really necessary. So something else people are going to want to know about is the in-body image stabilization. The A7C II has 7 stops of in-body image stabilization, while the A6700 has 5 stops. Now they both also have active stabilization if you want to use that. Active stabilization basically crops in on the frame, and it basically uses it's sort of fake stabilization basically, because it uses that crop to move around within the frame to stabilize it. Now both cameras have the capability of recording gyro data, so if you turn the in-body stabilization off, then in post you can stabilize after with software like Sony's Catalyst Browse or with another software called GyroFlow. But that requires that you have a fast enough shutter speed as well too, because you don't want any motion blur in any of those frames that you're stabilizing, but that's another step as well. So as far as something I may only understand, like my emotional connection to this camera, those of you who are actually considering this camera and the alternatives like the A6700 or even the original A7C, or maybe even the A7CR, which is a higher resolution version of this. If you're into, say, landscape photography, where you could really use all that resolution, you may want to look into that. So this video's focus is really on the 2 most compelling options, in my opinion, for those who want to travel with a hybrid camera. As far as value for money goes, the A6700 certainly represents more value for money. There's no question about it. Personal feelings aside, my emotional attachment to the original A7C and why I bought the A7C II isn't going to necessarily factor into your decision of what camera you want to buy. You're going to want to look at maybe how much low light photography you're going to be doing. Are you going to be doing astrophotography? Do you think you'll be shooting most of your stuff in the evenings? Well, then you might want to look at a full frame camera. So as usual, I hope you all got something out of this one. You're going to see a lot more of this camera in the future. And of course, you're going to be seeing some full frame lens reviews as well. As you're going to still see some APS-C lens reviews too. I'm holding on to the FX30, and who knows, maybe I'll pick up another APS-C camera somewhere down the line as well. So until next time, keep working to make your chosen idea a reality. Peace.